Coppa Shell AM, la categoria che sta per scendere in pista dalle ore 15. Ferrari fa parte del programma delle finali mondiali, anche se questa prima gara è riferita dal punto di vista agonistico ancora al campionato 2024, che per quanto riguarda la Coppa Shell AM è stato già assegnato al pilota greco Zois Skrimpias, il numero 168, che una serie importante di vittorie, sono ben 7 con la Ferrari numero 168. Ricapitoliamo un po' il percorso vincente di Zois, che è giunto al traguardo Skrimpias, che ha tenuto un buonissimo ruolino di marcia per quanto riguarda i colleghi impegnati nel campionato AM. Ricordiamo anche Eric Chong, autore di una buonissima stagione, è secondo in campionato con 119 punti, poi Andreas Koenig, che ha ottenuto fino a questo round 90 punti in campionato, Jan Sandman 76 punti e Andrea Levi, che ha agganciato 69 punti di classifica. Questo per quanto riguarda vede qui a Imola appunto il pilota greco alla ricerca di un risultato, completamento di una stagione strepitosa, risultato che in particolare alle finali mondiali in programma domenica, capace di dare una certa soddisfazione rispetto alla stagione che non si è conclusa magari come speravano. Il programma di oggi quindi si concentra anche per questa categoria, ma avremo poi di seguito alle ore 17 il mondo race, con l'intermezzo dello spettacolo delle Formula 1 clienti e 499P modificate, che saranno in pista dalle ore 16.05 alle 16.30, per cui un programma anche per quanto riguarda l'F1 clienti. Ma dicevo, ancora 2 gare per chiudere il programma di gara 1, poi per quanto riguarda la giornata di domani avremo un programma molto simile a quella di oggi, con in programma le 4 gare del challenge, sempre delle medesime categorie, con però ordini invertiti. Avremo la prima gara della mattinata alle ore 10.25, la Europa Coppa Shell AM, la seconda gara il trofeo Pirelli e Pirelli AM, poi avremo la Coppa Shell 488 alle 15.05 e in chiusura il campionato nordamericano. Ma insomma oggi e domani chiusura dei 2 campionati, dei campionati continentali, quindi chiusura dei campionati continentali. Sabato il programma per quanto riguarda il Ferrari Challenge prevede invece le qualifiche per le finali mondiali, quindi una sorta di qualifica per tutte le categorie, con anche la Super Pole che è riservata ai migliori 6 concorrenti di ogni categoria, quindi una super.
everyone. Good afternoon. Welcome to Imola. Welcome to the Finale Mondiale event. Here we go with race one for our Coppa Shell Am drivers. And this is what Imola looks like in the sunshine. I regret to say we don't have that today, but we do have a dry track, which is not something that we necessarily expected today. So that in itself is a bonus. So then, the championship concludes here in the Emilia-Romagna region of Italy. Our calendar for 2024, what a brilliant calendar it has been. And yes, it's a demanding circuit here at Imola, that's for sure. Here it is then, and we'll map it out for you so that you can see just how undulating it is, and not a moment for any driver to relax around this circuit. 4.9 kilometers, 21 turns, 12 of them left, 9 of them are right, and it's an anti-clockwise direction track, and the start-finish straight is not straight. Got a couple of kinks in it there just to keep everyone on their toes. Right, the weather, track temperature at the moment is 22 degrees. The air temperature is 19. 7 kilometers per hour of wind, and as I say, it is a dry track at the moment, and we're hoping that it will stay dry for the 30 minutes plus 1 lap that our Shell Am drivers are on the track for their race. There you can see them all lined up. Of course, before we arrived here in Imola, we have had a truly magnificent season. Corsa Clienti and the team behind the Ferrari Challenge having put together and designed a fantastic calendar. We've had some fantastic racing. As we look at the Eric Chung car, driver number 198. And talking of the racing that went before Imola, last time out we were at the Nürburgring in Germany, itself an iconic track, and which delivered great racing from the Ferrari Challenge. As you can see, let's recap the Nürburgring. Josef Schumacher and Zoe Skrimpias on their way. But Zoe Skrimpias, who's had a terrific season, Louis Peruskia was finding going around the wrong way as Zoe Skrimpias, the victory that his partner Germana found altogether quite amusing. Here we can see Jan Salmon and Louis Peruskia going side by side through the first sequence of turns in the Nürburgring in their second race, and it was going to be the race that was won by Eric Chung. So there, as we take a look at the cars all lined up on the grid, this is how it sits in the Drivers' Championship. Basically, Zoe Skrimpias has won it. He won it at Nürburgring. He's got 47 points to the good over Eric Chung, and then Andreas Koenig is P3. With Jan Salmon on his debut year in the Ferrari Challenge, I think a very creditable performance to be P4 in the Drivers' Championship as we speak. That's the way it looks, as always. Alongside me is Nico Spalek, who's just pointing out to me that Jan Salmon had an off in qualifying yesterday and therefore starts from the back of the pack for both of the races.
Yeah, absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Coppa Shell Am, and indeed Jan Salmon, who was very, very quick as we look at two amazing race drivers with different career paths.
Ifaye and Axel Sardigan. Yes, two completely different career paths, but two really, really talented gentlemen, that's for sure. So. And there is Manuela Gosner. There is Zoe Skrimpias then, who has really, really delivered this season. When he came into this championship at the beginning of the year, Nico, he was brand new into the Ferrari Challenge. He really set the pace from the very early start of the season by taking a P2 in his very first race and then winning the second race. And both you and I were convinced that he had some racing experience. Has no racing experience whatsoever. Came into the championship as a complete rookie, not only in the Ferrari Challenge, but in motor racing all told.
Yeah, that is absolutely amazing, and obviously it's always a team effort. And the Ricardo Corsa Ram team, who engineer his car and who give him advice and support, certainly play a part in this. But at the end of the day, he has to pedal the car himself.
He has to pedal it.
Absolutely, and he did it with aplomb.
You're right, he most certainly did. His record, well, by dint of the fact he's champion, that's record enough, but you know, his score sheet has been terribly, terribly impressive. He's had a cool head when he's needed to have a cool head, and it's been a joy to watch. He didn't qualify quite where we expected him to qualify yesterday, but it matters not. He's won the championship, and well, he can do some overtaking today, theoretically. So we will see how the drivers do. There's 18 cars on the grid. There's 30 minutes plus 1 lap on the clock. And yes, it's the first of the last 2 races in the championship for this year. But of course, there are the world final races to come on Sunday. And they are for the Gold Roof, which Andrea Levy already sports. I've entitled them the Gold Roof races, the world final races, where the best of all our regions of the Ferrari Challenge are pitted up against each other to find out who is the best in the world and becomes the world champion in each particular category. You can see the non-essential people leaving the grid now as we look at the number 120 car of the Scuderia FMA driver Guy Favre, who had a good quali. He banked P7 yesterday. It was impressive qualifying from Guy. Well done. Yes, car number 120.
Yeah, really good from him. He was a little bit invisible, and then at the very end of the qualifying, he made his mark and climbed all the way up the order, and as you say, finished in P7. Will go into the race alongside Andrea Levy, and it's going to be exactly behind Zoe Scrimpius that he will start the race. And on pole position, it's Eric Chung, who, it has to be said, got pole position for both of the races this week, today and tomorrow, by being the quickest of them all in rather changeable conditions.
Only just, though. He was really chased by Roland Hurtner, who you can see alongside him on the left-hand side of the grid. Roland having a very good qualifying session, in my opinion, Nico.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's never been slow by any means. There is von Skeltemer, or Shell driver, who's just giving a thumbs up to his teammate, Eric. No, not his teammate, but his stablemate, if you will, in terms of the Ferrari Challenge paddock. Great camaraderie. Eric Chung on pole position. Yeah, he's always been there or thereabouts, but over the last few events, Roland has really come up and has had the results. And a front row start, certainly a very good reward for that.
I agree. Sandro Montani there, who sometimes drives the safety car. You can see walking away there as we look at the Shintaro Akatsu car. Hello, Shintaro. Big thumbs up. He's been an ever-present in the Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am this year and had some good results as well, and has been a joy to watch. Yeah, he's got some overtaking to do as well, because he's qualified P12, that 115 car. He's only had 1 podium this year, and that came, if memory serves me, in the second race in Le Castellet, and it was richly deserved. But Shintaro's always been there or thereabouts, a number of P4 places, do you know what I mean? And yeah, you can sense there from the enthusiasm with which he greeted our camera operator. He enjoys his racing, he enjoys being part of the Ferrari Challenge, as indeed do all the drivers.
Absolutely, yeah, and it was kind of like felt jinxed to a degree with Shintaro, who was always there, and this podium always eluded him until that very race. The changing conditions certainly yesterday caught him out, because P11 is not to his standard and not to the pace he's shown across the season. So he will have some overtaking to do, and then for him, the focus also will be on the final race for Sunday, which is led up to with qualifying specifically for the world final race on Saturday morning, and then there is a Super Bowl to follow Saturday afternoon. So if you want drama,
cool.
The race is offer that galore, but that Super Bowl session, we've had it the first time last year, that provided lots and lots of it.
Okay, stand by. We're about to get the race underway. Safety car will leave now. Well, almost. I was trying to back time it perfectly, Nico, and I didn't.
But it gives us the opportunity to look at this amazing grid, and there indeed is the Richard
13 seconds late, in my opinion. Come on.
Good appointments.
So, on a script, right. Cars are away on their formation lap. We're bringing the grid in full from back to front. All 18 runners and riders in this Coppa Shell Am Race 1. Unbelievably, it's Wednesday. yesterday, Thursday, today. Where are we today? Thursday.
Thursday.
We're racing today. We were qualifying yesterday. I mean, it's been already so much action. Right, it's Jan Salmon, Louis Peruskia, Andreas Koenig, Hassan Debussy. Then it's... Have I missed some here?
I think we skipped a few of the final few rows, which is a little bit unkind, but here are the front 2 rows.
Yeah, the front 2 rows, Henrik Kamstrup, Paolo Scudieri, Roland Hurtner, and Eric Chung. To give you the rows that are missing, Jan Sandman, Louis Peruskia, Andreas Koenig, Hassan Debussy, Josef Schumacher, Stephen Earl, Shintaro Akatsu, and Norikazu Shibata, Alvaro Romero, Mutlu Tarzev, Andrea Levy, and Guy Fave. There you go. That gives you the ones that were missing in the graphics for some curious reason. I don't know why, but let's hear from our pole man.
Very happy to be P1 for race 1. In the middle of the qualifying, my coach said I'm only P4. Asked me to push, and then before the red flag, I did the best lap, and I'm very happy. And hopefully in race 1, I can go on the podium.
Let's hope so, Eric Chung. Thanks for talking to us then. Poleman Eric Chung. Now, this man is going to be doing some overtaking. Jan Salmon in car number 186, Nico, who's going from the back of the pack. But he's a feisty racer, so yes, I really rather think that he'll be doing some overtaking. The cars will form up side by side in grid formation when they reach the conclusion of the lap. The Richard Mille safety car will peel off into the pit lane. It will therefore become the responsibility of Eric Chung and Roland Hurtner to control the pace of the rolling start. It's always a rolling start in the Ferrari Challenge. Whether you're racing here in Europe, whether you're racing in North America, whether you're racing in the UK or indeed Japan, it's always a rolling start. That's how we do things, you know, and it's the right way, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. The key thing with a rolling start, you don't stand in the grid box, but you have to run through them with at least 2 wheels. Otherwise, you will incur a penalty. There we can see the rundown from the chicane, the Aqua Minerale, up to the Variante Alta, and then it goes down into the Rivazza turns. 2 turns, and then that straight, which isn't a straight, but it feels like it's half the track from that chicane all the way to the first real braking point into the first chicane after the start-finish line.
Well, Eric Chung and Roland Hurtner very nearly trading paint with the safety car as they get as close as they can before they get into the Rivazza 2 turn, which is where they are right now. This is when the Richard Mille safety car will indicate right and pull off and peel off into the pit lane. And it will be down to Eric and Roland to control the pace of this rolling start. 18 cars on the grid. This is Ferrari Challenge Coppa Shell Am. It's a long way before you get to the start-finish line. We'll throw the lighting gantry to the top of the screen so that you can see when the lights go out, and we will go racing. Non-stop hot rock to come then from the Ferrari Challenge here. We're live from Imola. There is the lighting gantry. All the lights are on. They're off now. Let's go racing. Great start from Eric Chung. Not such a good start from Roland. Keep your eyes on Henrik Kamstrup. He's looking lively. He's got by Paolo Scudieri. And Roland Hurtner then, in the second phase of the start, got it all together and has put himself ahead of Eric Chung. Great start there from Roland Hurtner. Look at this, gapping Eric Chung already. Henrik Kamstrup, P3. Paolo Scudieri, P4. Then it's Talal Shayer ahead of Zeus Skrimpias. So the initial start, Nico, from Roland Hurtner was not good. Then he seemed to have the momentum.
Yeah, all of a sudden, you actually called it correctly. It was Eric Chung with a significant margin. There's that little left-hand side kink on the start, right after the start line, and that benefits the ones on the inside, on the pole position side. But Roland Hurtner, all of a sudden, he got it found in a 20th gear or something in his 296 challenge and jumped ahead.
Yeah, it was a brilliant. And now he is setting such a gap already, up to 1.4 seconds ahead of Eric Chung. Roland Hurtner on a mission here in the 159 car, and Roland has been on the podium this year, but he hasn't had a race win. That's what he's determined to deliver today. Be under no illusion, it's Hurtner from Chung, from Kamstrup, from Scudieri, from Talal Shayer, and so Skrimpias, and it's Guy Fave ahead of Andrea Levy. Mutlutazev, and then running in P10 is Norikatsu Shibata. So, to and through the Rivazza turns they come, and Roland Hurtner then 1.8 seconds to the good. Let's see if he's increased that as they cross the timing line now. Let's get a live gap from you. For you, it's 1.848. He has increased it a little bit, 2/100ths over Eric Chung and Henrik Kamstrup. It was a good, clean and tidy start to the best of my knowledge. And through the first chicane goes Roland Hurtner, followed by Eric Chung and Henrik Kamstrup. And those three are breaking away a little bit from the rest of the pack of cars.
Yeah, indeed. And further down the order, maybe surprising, Jan Sandman, who really had the pace over the last few events, is still dead last, so he hasn't been able to move up the order at all. And Shintaro Katsu, who we were also talking about, has actually dropped 4 places all the way down into P15. So we will see what happens front to back. So many good and talented drivers there. Josef Schumacher on the inside, and that was on Norikatsu Shibata. And I think, looking at that angle, I think he made the overtake stick.
Josef Schumacher with one of the most distinctive liveried 296 Challenge cars out there on track. Be under no illusion, you can't miss it. Let's get a replay of the start then. And here you can see Eric Chung. He was definitely ahead of Roland Hurtner. But then Roland Hurtner really got going and yeah, was able to find his way past Eric Chung very, very early on. Here we can see, let's see if we stay with this as they break in. And that's where Eric Chung was earlier on the brakes, undoubtedly. And Roland Hurtner was just a bit braver, perhaps, with the middle pedal. And that was where he was able to go by Eric Chung. So good, clean and tidy overtake there from Roland Hurtner, and all the cars going through that first chicane with no problems at all, which was really, really good to see. So Hurtner from Chung, from Kamstrup, from Scudieri. Then it's Talal Shayer as Franz Engstler. Legendary driver watches on. Franz Engstler, of course, very much a campaigner in the Ferrari Challenge. He is team boss, if you like, of the Go Motorsport organisation that run the Roland Hurtner car. So Franz Engstler watching on to see how his driver can do. And I have to say, if you're going to have someone as a sort of an advisory person in your team, there aren't many better than Franz Engstler. He's had some success, not only in the Ferrari Challenge, but across a whole gamut of motor racing. Hugely successful driver and darn nice chap as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So Roland Hurtner really stretching his legs, almost 3 seconds to the good. The only downer for him is that he has picked up the first track limits warning of the race, and that is quite early. Now you're get away with 3. The 4th one will incur a penalty, so you don't want to do that as early in the race, but that's really the only negative that has to be reported for Roland Hurtner and the Engstler team.
So Henrik Kamstrup climbs the hill, chasing this man, Eric Chung. There is Henrik Kamstrup in the all-blue 296 Challenge car. There's Paolo Scudieri, then it's Talal Shayer. And Talal Shayer now is coming under some pressure from the champion, Zois Skrimpias, who has got Guy Favre right up his trumpet as well. So it's a 3-way fight that's going on here for the P5 position in this race. And as they run downhill, there is no doubt about it that Zois Skrimpias has got the pace here, but he's got to find a way past, and that's not so easy. Talal Shayer, pinch point perfect. In fact, all 3 drivers in that little battle were absolutely accurate. Now, can Zois Skrimpias get close to the Talal Shayer car, get something of a draft off the back end of Talal Shayer, and engineer a move going into turns 2, 3 and 4, the Variante Tamburello? I don't think it's quite close enough, Nico, but let's see, as he comes under braking here, he just took a look at the inside, but as I say, I don't think he was close enough to be able to do anything. Talal Shayer got it all completely under control at the moment. Guy Favre, I think, is being very wise here, because what he's doing is letting Zois Skrimpias do all the hard work for him.
Yeah, and he's having a look at the inside, but nothing doing there, as they have completed the first sector, and now they go towards this hairpin, and yeah, Zois looks like he's now picking up the pace and getting close, so Talal Shayer really has to be on his mettle, and I think that was an opportunity.
Might still be an opportunity, as that is a drag race uphill now, but Talal Shayer still is able to show a clean pair of heels to Zois Skrimpias, but you get a feeling it's when, not if, this overtake is potentially going to happen. Zoe Skrimpias has definitely got the pace advantage, but as we've said so many times in broadcast, that it's all very well being quicker than the car in front of you. You've got to find a way by. And a big beneficiary could be Guy Favet if Zoe Skrimpias does all the hard work for him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Zoe's really, I mean, he's been, and you've said it before, he's been mature beyond his race experience all season long. Even when he was overtaking, he didn't try and do something crazy. He was always very controlled, very calm, and I think that will benefit him here also. But he looks like the quicker of the two for the time being.
Yes, let's see how that develops then, and it's very quickly becoming a four-way fight for P5 because Andrea Levy is trying to join this invitation-only party at the moment. He, of course, is running in that P8 position at the moment. You can just see him into the back of this pack here as they break now for the first chicane. On the lap, goes through Henrik Kamstrup and Paolo Scudieri. Here then is Talal Shire. And then the rest of the cars that are following in order: Zoe Skrimpias, Guy Favet, Andrea Levy. And Josef Schumacher is about 4 seconds behind this bunch. So the more they keep fighting, it might play into the hands of Josef Schumacher, who might be able to get a bit closer to them as well. Could just see him coming into the shot there at the back end of that. Zoe Skrimpias again, this is where he's very, very quick, seemingly when he climbs uphill. And he gets very, very close indeed to the car of Talal Shire, but Talal doing a good job of protecting his track position at the moment, and is not daunted or fussed by the pressure that's being applied by Zoe Skrimpias in the 168 car. Remind you that Zoe Skrimpias won the Coppa Shell Am Championship at the Nürburgring last time around for the Ferrari Challenge, and as Zois is trying to attack, he's got to be minded not to leave himself vulnerable to an attack from Guy Favet right behind him. Guy currently running in P6. So Zois is stuck in this sandwich where he's attacking and having to defend at the same time. And as they run downhill now, carrying as much speed as they possibly can in these 296 Challenge cars, then large helpings of the brake pedal through the Rivazza turns. And another lap is completed and put in the book. And both Roland Hurtner and Eric Chung having picked up time penalties, or not time penalties, but having picked up track limits warnings now. So both of them need to be aware of that. For my money, Guy Favet is the one that is launching the bigger of the attacks at the moment and really trying to take it here to the car of Zoe Skrimpias. Roland Hurtner, meantime, in the lead to the tune of 2.117 seconds. There's Henrik Kamstrup and Paolo Scudieri. They're running P3 and P4. Before we get to this four-way battle, as Zoe Skrimpias just took a look at the inside. And that allows Guy Favet to get a little bit closer now. Zoe Skrimpias very clever here because he gets a very good exit from that turn before climbing uphill. And he definitely has more momentum, but what he doesn't have is the ability to put the car alongside Talal Shire. Talal doing a good job here, defending and defending. Really enjoyable to watch, and Zoe Skrimpias is really having to work hard. And what we should also bear in mind is it's only just the first 10 minutes of the race that have been completed. I would say that Zois will have taken more out of his tyres than anybody else because he's really been pushing very, very hard. Now, that may not have an impact right now, but where it may have an impact is towards the end of the race. Henrik Kamstrup, Paolo Scudieri, they remain in that P3 and P4 position respectively. And here is Talal Shire, still able to show a clean pair of heels to Zoe Skrimpias behind.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we've seen and what we heard from some of the drivers across the season is that you can be a little bit creative in terms of the tire pressure, where if you go with a little lower tire pressure initially, you struggle over the first 1 or 2 laps, but when the tire pressure and the tire then comes into its zone and it's perfect, you're then quicker for at least a number of laps and have an advantage. Maybe that's something that the Reparto Corsa Ram team did, and but we will find out later. Eric Chung has responded meanwhile to Roland Hurtner and has inherited the fastest lap, and the gap between the two leaders is less than a second now.
Oh, interesting. So maybe Eric then, maybe that's exactly why Roland Hurtner had the advantage right at the start. Perhaps Eric started on lower tyre pressures and they're now coming into their own. Three drivers who have had track limits warnings are Roland Hurtner, Eric Chung, and Paolo Scudieri, interestingly. These four have been locked in this four-way fight for P5 for lap after lap. Thus far, Zoe Skrimpias not looking quite as aggressive now on Tal Al-Shaair as he was earlier on. And there you can see the 124 car of Tal Al-Shaair. They climb uphill right now. It's Roland Hurtner from Eric Chung, P1 and P2. Now, our timing screen is telling us that having dropped down the order is Henrik Kamstrup, but given that we've been following this battle and we've not gone past the Henrik Kamstrup car, I would suggest that that's a transponder issue, Nico, and that Henrik Kamstrup is still in that P3 position.
Yeah, indeed, and he has jumped back up the timing screen, so all good there, except for a small technical glitch, so we can go back and focusing on what is happening effectively behind him, and this crocodile still led, and there is the lead battle, and it's much closer than it was.
Yes, 3/10 is the gap between P1 and P2 now. There is Henrik Kamstrup. You could see him in picture. So all of a sudden now, Roland Hurtner is going to have to defend because Eric Chung, who maybe his tyres have come into life right now, with 17 minutes of this race remaining, he is definitely looking quick, isn't he? And Roland Hurtner is having to up the ante a little bit and also turn into defensive mode.
Yeah, and another battle in the background, you can see that also Paolo Scudieri has closed the gap on Henrik Kamstrup. So developing two battles for the top four positions, that's exactly how we know the Ferrari Challenge. That's exactly how we love the Ferrari Challenge. Close battle, front and center.
To the right-hand side of your picture is Eric's wife, Corinne, watching on. She's got the data on her lap that she's looking at all the time to see what her husband is doing out there. She's ever present and a huge, huge support to Eric Chung. And they're lovely, lovely people. And Eric Chung is pushing Roland Hurtner hard now. It's Formula Racing. For Eric Chung, it's Go Motorsport Excellent for Roland Hurtner. And under braking, Eric Chung gets ever closer to Roland. Now, Roland, of course, would love to seal a race win in this season where he's afforded and offered so much promise and so much pace, Nico. He's been really, really enjoyable to watch. And actually, if you look at the scorecard, the results really belie what Roland has delivered on track this year, I feel. He hasn't perhaps had the results that sometimes he's deserved, as Eric Chung will take a look at the inside now, but he's going to take another look, and there's racing room between the two of them, and Eric has gone through with a clean, decisive, very, very quick move.
Yeah, it was a kind of a reversal carbon copy of the move on lap 1, where it felt like Roland then felt like Eric had it under control, but Roland Hurtner was able to go on the inside, and this time it was exactly the other way. Well, Corinne
is really pleased about that.
Definitely, definitely. And now you can see Eric Chung already stretching and getting up the road, and that allows us, I think, very, very soon to focus on the Kamstrup-Scudieri battle, because that's certainly heating up.
It was at exactly halfway stage in the race that Eric came good, and let's see it all over again. Initially, I didn't think he was going to go for the inside line, but I'd rather think that Roland maybe made a mistake and left too much of a gap there, and it was just too much of an invitation for Eric to say no. And Roland just picking up a bit of gravel there. That would have slowed him a little bit, and that meant that the decision that Eric had made to seize that gap was the right one, I think. Stephen Earle, we look at the back end of now, driving the number 100 car. And then behind him, well, all heck is breaking loose, isn't it? Because behind Stephen Earle, it's Mutlu Tarzev, then it is Shibata, and off the back of those two, Andreas Koenig, who qualified out of position, no question about that. And Andreas Koenig is on something. Mutlu has got an issue. He's really slowed. And so Andreas Koenig goes through, and so too does Shibata. So, yeah, good move by Norikazu Shibata and also by Andreas Koenig. Doubtless benefited by virtue of the fact that Mutlu Tarzev, if it indicated left and waved them through, he couldn't have been any more accommodating in terms of letting them move up a couple of places.
True that, and if you're wondering what happened with the Tal Al-Shaair, Zoe Skrimpias, Guy Favre and Andrea Levy battle, nothing. Here they are, exactly in the same order as they were, and almost to the 100th of a second with exactly the same gaps.
Thanks, Nico. Right, it's always taking a look at Tal Al-Shaair, but once again, taking a look, and I can't help but feel that Zeus will be, and has been, taking a lot out of his tyres, and therefore perhaps towards the end of the race he's going to be vulnerable to the likes of Guy Favre and Andrea Levy, and also possibly Josef Schumacher, who is getting ever closer, Nico. Very soon it's going to become a five-way fight for P5 in this Coppa Am race. 30 minutes plus 1 lap of the Ferrari Challenge Wheel live from Imola, bringing you all the action from this fantastic one-make series, which is so successful, and 2024 has been a truly magnificent season. Zeus now, where can he position that car? The problem is, for Zeus, Talal knows exactly where to position his car to maintain maximum defense, and he's doing it really well, Nico.
Yeah, Talal here opened the season at the second round in Balton with a P3. Hasn't been back on the podium since, but he's certainly holding strong here in 5th place and defending his position against our champion, as well as those behind him. So he would like to get up the road, but he's 9 seconds behind Paolo Scudieri, and his job for this race thus far from the gun effectively has been defensive.
Yes, you're right. Talal, who has also raced in North America this year on occasions, so he's done plenty of racing in the 296 Challenge car as they head up towards the first chicane again. And it's pretty much as we were. The only difference, in my opinion, is the gap between Andrea Levy and Josef Schumacher is coming down and coming down and coming down. So Josef Schumacher is getting closer to joining this battle.
Yeah, last lap it was 6/10 quicker for Josef Schumacher than Andrea Levy, and that gap is currently 2.6 seconds, so give it a few more laps. But it's with 11.5 minutes remaining plus a lap. It's getting close for him. I think he might be able to join the Crocodile. Will he be able to leapfrog them all? That's going to be a much different story.
Crocodiles, frogs, you name it. They're all involved in this. Joking, of course, it's our metaphors. But here is Zeus Skripjas. So, it's not very often you can say that Zeus Skripjas has been P6 in the season. In fact, barring one race, he hasn't. There's only one race he hasn't been on the podium, and that was because he didn't finish the race.
Yeah, I mean, his consistency is one part of the amazement that we have with his performance from this year. But whatever the reason is, he hasn't had all his own way here in Imola, and he continues to struggle or be involved in a battle, and it's not a battle for the lead. And talking about the battle for the lead, Roland Hurtner trying to respond, but it's Eric Chung who's now 2.7 seconds to the good, so he's really found another gear. And talking about battles, Andreas Koenig is still very much involved in one of those.
Yes, now this is a three-way fight for P10, and in that P10 position at the moment is Stephen Earle. P11 is Shibata, P12 is Andreas Koenig, and there is the Andreas Koenig car. And yeah, Stephen Earle coming under some pressure going into this chicane, but Stephen Earle absolutely able to show a clean pair of heels to Norikatsu Shibata at the moment. And Andreas Koenig trying to take advantage here. Oh, and cars diving every which way but loose. So there you could see that Shibata has gone through. Stephen Earle finding the gravel, and Andreas Koenig finding himself advantaged one place. So it's a big save from Stephen Earle. Well done, managing to hold it through the gravel trap like a fine rallycross driver and getting it back out onto the tarmac, albeit he has lost 2 places in so doing. Meantime, this is interesting because Tal Al-Shaair and Zeus Skripjas have broken away a little bit from Guy Favre and also Andrea Levy. And Josef Schumacher, I said, was going to be on this battle in a couple of laps. And he's pretty much on the back of Andrea Levy right now.
Yeah, approaching the 1 second mark in terms of gap. What we've seen with Shaair and Skripjas and Favre is that when Skripjas got really close to Shaair and couldn't get by, that meant he had to slow down by virtue of being in the battle, and that brought Guy Favre back into it.
Yes.
So we will see how that develops over the remainder of this race. But as you say, Josef Schumacher lost a little bit of time in the second sector, but certainly made up time in the third sector. He's only 8/10 behind Andrea Levy now, and with 8 minutes remaining, he is certainly there.
Tal Al-Shaair looked a bit wayward. We heard him going into that chicane looking wayward or sounding wayward, and well, it paid off. All the pressure from Zoe Scrimpias paid off in the end, and now Guy Favre is going to have a go. But Guy Favre, his review screen is full of Andrea Levy. So Tal Al-Shaair, after lap after lap after lap of pressure, the pressure got to Tal Al, and yes, he's lost out on one place. So Zoe Scrimpias, now he's been released from the cork in the bottle, if you will. Up the road, look at him go. Already is gapped by 6 or 7 car lengths. So he clearly had the pace, and we probably knew that, but he just couldn't find a way by, and now he has managed to get by. Now he's like the proverbial up the road.
Yeah, and Andrea Levy has made it past Guy Favre, so that four-way battle is... Oh, there is Andreas Koenig, but what happened was right in front of him.
Yes, and that was... oh, there was an avoidance. There was an avoidance. I wondered if they'd actually got together, but, well, to be fair, he was... Norikatsu Shibata was avoided by Andreas Koenig. So here is Eric Chung leading the race by, what, 2.183 over Eric Chung. What have we got left? 6 3/4 minutes plus a lap. Yeah. It's Chung from Hertner from Kamstrup.
Indeed, and Paulo Scudieri, just to make it more interesting, just put in the fastest lap. He's 1.7 seconds off the podium behind Henrik Kamstrup, but he's... Maybe his strategy is to push towards the very end, so that's a gap that we will keep watching. And there is another battle, and Tal Al-Shaair and Andrea Levy, they were 4 spots apart, and now Levy is right behind Tal Al-Shaair, and I think he's going to be past him in a few seconds, and actually has done it.
And Levy had already got past Guy Favre.
Indeed. So I think maybe Tal Al-Shaair in defense may have overstressed his tires a little bit. I mean, credit where credit is due. Very, very good driving from him. Very good defense, but maybe he's paying the price here. And Josef Schumacher, you said it.
Yeah, he's involved in this now. He's right with Guy Favre. So Tal Al-Shaair then, who had done such a steadfast job in defending, as you say, he's probably taken a lot out of what he had available to him. And all of a sudden, it's very busy, therefore, behind as well, with Jan Sandman chasing down Alvaro Ramos, and then Hassan Debussy in that mix as well. And we know that Jan will look for unorthodox lines, Nico, and try and make it work. And it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. Jan goes for the inside line here. You can see him really dive out of that and really hassling Alvaro Ramos, hoping to provoke a little mistake or two. Jan Sandman, coached by Charlie Hollings, who is a very successful driver in his own right and offers indeed worthy advice to Jan Sandman, who has been a revelation in the Ferrari Challengers. It's been a delight to talk about and watch. And look at this. Inside, outside, he's trying everywhere. And Hassan Debussy almost able to take advantage of actually Jan being a bit wayward in terms of which way he was going to go there. And that, Nico, sometimes is the trouble. You can be very, very firm and decisive in trying to go for an overtake, but it leaves you vulnerable to whoever is attacking from behind.
Yeah, indeed. You sometimes really have to just close off and defend the line. And if you go off that defensive line and try to make a move, that sometimes you're stuck behind the other car on the inside or the outside, and that leaves a gap. And there is Josef Schumacher, who's now trying to get on terms with Guy Favre, and Tal Al-Shaair for the time being breathes a sigh of relief by virtue of the fact the cars behind him are fighting. As Eric Chung is steadfast in maintaining his lead. Roland Hürtner P2, Henrik Kamstrup P3 with less than 4 minutes plus a lap remaining. We're getting to the sharp end of this session.
We are very much indeed, and Josef Schumacher climbs uphill now. Climbs uphill with the target firmly affixed on the back of the Guy Favre car. Guy Favre in turn, he's very much focused on trying to find a way past Tal Al-Shayr, but nothing has been doing so far as they run downhill under the huge Finale Mondiali 2024 banner. This is Guy Favre, that is Tal Al-Shayr, and this is Josef Schumacher. So this fight that's going on is for P7, 8 and 9. That's where these drivers sit at the moment, respectively. P7, 8 and 9. Eric Chung leading the race by 3.6 seconds. Now, this is Mutlu Tazev under pressure from Shintaro Akatsu. It's for P12 in the race, and actually wherever you look in the 18-strong grid of cars, there are fights going on, and Shintaro Akatsu then chasing down Mutlu Tazev. So Shintaro Akatsu in the 115 car, as you can see, gets a better exit. Now, is he going to be able to set himself up for a move going into the Variante Tamburello? Let's see. Is probably close enough. He's going to have to be king of the late breakers and make a decisive move to the inside. Well, that was denied because Mutlu Tazev very cleverly covered that off and made sure that he positioned his 296 Challenge car exactly where he didn't want to be seen by Shintaro Akatsu, who's all over the back. I could just see one car going around behind Nico, and I think that might have been the Norikazu Shibata car. Didn't quite make it out. Maybe it was Alvaro Ramos.
I think it was Jan Salmon getting past Alvaro Ramos, and Alvaro Ramos just kept it together and held off Hassan Debussy. So they're all still running, but as you can see, Jan Salmon already with a gap right after making that overtake. So well spotted there. Henrik Kamstrup, meanwhile, with 1 minute 40 seconds remaining, he's closed the gap on Roland Hurtner, so maybe a battle for P2 developing up front, but we stick with this one for the time being. Shintaro Akatsu has been very visible all season long, and he continues that trend, and now I think he's got an overtake opportunity potentially on the inside.
He's going to have to be big, bold and brave here, and Mutlu Tazev then, well, I have to say, he defended that really well and made it clean through that chicane, which I wasn't convinced that was going to be the case. Now it's the big run downhill into the two Ravazza turns, Nico, where you carry so much speed and you have to be so hard on the brakes. Ravazza 1, here comes Ravazza 2, blip of the throttle before you're into Ravazza 2, and Shintaro Akatsu now, if he can get the draft off the back of the Mutlu Tazev car, perhaps he would be able to have a go going into the Variante Tamburello. Eric Chung, Roland Hurtner, Henrik Kamstrup, P1, 2 and 3 at the moment. We have 36 seconds remaining, plus 1 lap for this driver, Eric Chung. It will be the remainder of this lap, plus 1 more?
Absolutely, yeah. Eric Chung who's taking the Variante Alta, but he's not going to cross the finish line with time remaining, so it's going to be just 1 more. There is the colorful livery of Schumacher, and he comes up very fast on Guy Favre and makes the move. Maybe Guy Favre, little bit of got into the gravel temporarily.
Just wonder whether he missed the gear coming out of that turn, because Josef almost looked like he had to pile on so much steering lock to avoid coming together with the back end of the Guy car.
Yeah, absolutely. He lost some momentum somehow, somewhere, and Josef Schumacher was out of position after qualifying, has moved up the order into P8. We're on the final lap.
With Eric Chung then leading by 2.540 seconds over Roland Hurtner and then Henrik Kamstrup. Then it is Paolo Scudieri and Zoe Scrimpias who has set the fastest lap of the race, but is in relatively a lowly P5 position. I say relatively compared to what we've seen from Zoe Scrimpias all season long. I remind you that Roland Hurtner had got himself in the lead from Eric Chung early in the race, but Eric Chung certainly found the pace after sort of lap 3, 4 or 5, and he was able to make a move on Roland Hurtner and has not looked back since. And for Eric Chung, if my memory serves me, this would be his 3rd win of the season, should he take it to the checkered flag, because it's not all over until that checkered flag flies. He climbs uphill right now, does Eric Chung. He's had a number of very good podium places. I mean, I've lost count of how many P2s he's had. It's probably 6. And yeah, his consistent point scoring has meant that he was in with a mathematical chance of taking the championship until Zoe Skrimpias sealed yet another win at the Nürburgring, and that was enough to see off the threat and challenge from Eric Chung, but no one is able to see off the threat and challenge from the driver of the 198 Formula Racing engineered car today in Ferrari Challenge Coppa Am, live from Imola as part of Finale Mondiale. Eric Chung heads towards the gantry and the checkered flag and wins race 1 ahead of Roland Hurtner and Henrik Kamstrup. Great driving from Eric Chung, and that's his second win on the bounce, because he won the second race at the Nürburgring, as we saw in the highlights just at the beginning of the program, and Mrs. Chung is congratulated accordingly.
Yeah, and Roland Hurtner, kind of a mixed feeling. He is so quick. I mean, the pace that he has shown, really, really remarkable, and really good result, beaten only by Eric Chung. But once you're in the lead and you've taken the lead away from the pole setter,
that's very different. Yeah,
you must feel like that was your opportunity maybe to do it, but certainly very good. And I mean, the advantage is there's not only the race tomorrow, but there is the world final race, and I think one thing he can take away is that he certainly has the pace in the car and in himself, and the team has the setup nailed, so that certainly gives him a good chance for the Sunday race.
Yeah, the win still eludes him, and yeah, still 2 opportunities for him to be a race winner in this season for Roland Hurtner. We will see how he does tomorrow and indeed on Sunday, but let's take nothing away from Eric Chung, who did a fine job and is victorious, as I say, once again. He's had a stellar season, Nico. Eric Chung has been a long competitor in the Ferrari Challenge, and he's had some seasons that, by his own admission, would be forgettable in terms of performance, and then more often he's had seasons like he's had this year, where it's been an absolutely stellar season, and he'll be very pleased with his result today, of which we can see confirmation right now. P1 Eric Chung, P2 Roland Hurtner, P3 Henrik Kamstrup. It's Paolo Scudieri that takes P4, Zoe Skrimpias P5, then it's Andrea Levy, Talal Shayer and Josef Schumacher completing the first 8 positions of our Coppa Am race 1 of the weekend. Guy Favre P9, Andreas Koenig P10, then it was Stephen Earle P11. It's 12 for Mudlutazev, Jan Salmon Banks P13, Alvaro Ramos and Hassan Tabusi ahead of Norikatsu Shibata, Louis Peruskia and Shintaro Akatsu. Those are the confirmed results sent to us by Race Control. So, as always, great to see those, and well done to Eric Chung. He's going on top of the car, Nico. Steady on, Eric.
He's got it under control.
He has. He has. Well done, Eric. He'll get a telling off from Corinne now for doing that. You watch. Wonderful stuff. He didn't get a telling off at all.
She's very lenient. Very lenient. Roland Hurtner going to find the driver who got the better of him.
That camaraderie, Nico, is so lovely to see, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just, you know, great testament. Henrik Kamstrup, I talked to him on Tuesday.
Yes.
And he said, yeah, I feel good. I feel like this is going to be a week where I can do some damage in the best sense of the word, and he lived up to that, got a podium, got a P3, and he also will feel good about the pace that he and Formula Racing have. Obviously, Formula Racing getting P1 and P3, 2 podium positions out of that race.
Yep, that's impressive. That's impressive. Well done to all the drivers. 18 started, 18 finished. And we, of course, will do our level best to hear from our race winner, Eric Chung. Ludovica will be down there chasing him. And doubtless we'll hear from Eric Chung. So well done to him, Formula Racing driver, who is victorious here at Imola. all part of the Finale Mondiale, I'm tempted to say festival, because it's a huge event here at Imola, where I'm not sure the paddock could accommodate much more in terms of festivities, because the paddock is truly ram-packed and jam-packed with everything that's great and good about Ferrari, of which there is much, of course. So we are going to hear from Eric Chung. He is with Ludovica right now.
Eric, congratulations, a very important result for you from P1 to P1. How do you feel to be here?
I'm very happy, of course, but I have a bad start because I brake too early and car P2 overtake me. So I have a hard time chase him, and then have to fresh him, give him pressure, and eventually I managed to pass him.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So as the Coppa Chalam drivers got the lights out and permission to go, Eric Chung from pole position. However, he braked too early, and that opened up the door to Roland Herner to go through into the first chicane. And there was plenty going on behind, as well as champion in the Coppa Chalam category, Zoe Scrimpias, was chasing down those cars ahead of him, and Talal Shayer was proving to be very difficult to overtake. However, Eric Chung, having started from pole position, was determined to get back into the race lead. And he pushed and pushed and pushed, and in the end, he managed to find the inside line and then the outside line, all the way around the outside of Roland Herner, and put himself back into that P1 position. Whatever Zoe Scrimpias did, initially, Talal had the answer to, until it came to then, and he did go through. And Josef Schumacher joining this battle and trying to find his way past Guy Favre to move himself up another place, and that's precisely what Josef Schumacher was able to do in one of the more colourful Ferrari 296 Challenge cars. There was nothing to stop Eric Chung once he'd got his nose back out in front, because he had to do it all over again. And when he saw the checkered flag awaiting for him, he was delighted to take the win ahead of Roland Herner and Henrik Kamstrup. Giancarlo Fisichella and Stefano Guy in conversation, Nico, as they so often are.
Lots of motorsport pedigree and experience before we go up to the podium.
You're right. Franz Engstler is centre picture there right now. Gives a thumbs up, Franz. Not likely, Dave. His son Luca, of course, will be racing this weekend, and Luca has been racing in the Ferrari Challenge this season. So on the podium, P3, Henrik Kamstrup. P2 is Roland Herner. P1, we can see him now, arriving at the step one, is Eric Chung. Great friendship among the competitors. So the anthem plays out then for Eric Chung for Formula Racing. There's Stefano Guy with Fabrizio Fontana alongside him. He, of course, is the 488 Challenge champion. And here to make the trophy presentations. Delighted to welcome Ifier, the Ferrari factory driver. And I have to say, great to see him here. I was having a chat with him earlier on. He makes the trophy presentation to Henrik Kamstrup of Formula Racing. As Nico says, double bubble for Formula Racing, having P1 and P3. Roland Herner, though, for the Go Motorsport Engstler team, takes P2. And taking P1, the big one, the race winners trophy, it's Eric Chung. And of course, Formula Racing will be in receipt of the Coppa Teams trophy, as well as Mrs. Chung looks on and takes in a photograph of yet another race win from her husband, who is of fine pedigree when it comes to racecraft, and everyone joins together on the podium. for the photographs to be taken. Right, we've been having a little bit of a competition here as to who is going to be the quickest with the champagne celebrations. For my money, it's going to be Eric Chung on this occasion. Let's see. Well, Yifei and our team representative get off very quick. No, it was Henrik Kamstrup quickest with the champagne. So, once again, as is traditionally the case, I was wrong. Taking P3 for Formula Racing. Great drive from Henrik Kamstrup. Taking P2. The win again eludes him. Surely it's going to come. Go Motorsport excellent driver Roland Hertner. And victory awaited the Formula Racing star Eric Chung. Driver of car number 198, P1. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, Zoe Scrimpius cannot be caught. Eric Chung remains P2. Andreas Koenig is P3 ahead of Jan Salmon, Andrea Levy, Roland Hertner, Shintaro Akatsu and Paolo Scudieri. Ahead of Henrik Kamstrup, Stephen Earle, Mutlu Tarsev, Talal Shayer, Guy Favre, Josef Schumacher and Alvaro Ramos. All of those drivers featured in that race. Hassan Debussy, Louis Peruskia, Lisa Clark, Giuseppe Romelli, Max Hervé, George, Maurizio Pittori and Frank Gewitz. And Norikatsu Shibata, who of course has joined the Coppa Shell Am races for this weekend here at Imola. So as we enjoy some of the images from the Coppa Shell Am race here at Imola and others too, thank you so much for watching from Nico and me. Bye-bye for now.